All right, so here's exactly why you keep sending off these big proposals. Silence, right? I'm gonna show you the top 3 ways to make sure you're sending off these proposals and you actually hearing back and you're not getting ghosted. So first thing, you need to actually be professional, okay? Have an actual software. Now I know you can save money. There's these old school ways. You can just write a little Word document, turn it to a PDF. No, right? We wanna use a software that's gonna let them sign right there. Stop forcing people to print stuff out, DocuSign. When people confused, they don't buy, right? So make it professional. I use HoneyBook. It lets you put all these different things. You can section stuff off. You can add lines to get people's address, make them submit different things. It's great, right? So send something professional that they're gonna feel like you're a higher end entity that they're dealing with, right? When you wanna win bigger proposals, you gotta come correct, right? So that's another thing. Itemization, and this is huge. You wanna give them all the information that they need, right? So for instance, you can't just say, oh, it's $50,000 and here's why, right? You want to let them know, because honestly, so there's a lot of clients that I'll work with and they have a $5,000 budget. They always got more money than they tell you, right? So if you show them exactly all that goes into the production, you can pull more money out of their pockets. Not that that's the goal, but business is business, you gotta make money, right? So when they see, oh wow, there's a lot to go into this, you know what I mean? They're like, okay, I do understand why it's $10,000. And I'm gonna show you exactly how number 3 can help them feel even more comfortable with number 2, all right? So when I start, I summarize what it is. Okay, did I understand the project? Okay, client A or client is looking to do X, right? So we got that. Break up pre-production, production, and post-production. Let them know there's 3 phases. And sometimes you might send out proposals, just run a gun, there's no pre-production, right? So let's say there is for sake of the space, I'm gonna just say that's pre-production right there, all right? So in pre-production, I'm listing out everything that's going into that. So shot planning, storyboarding, location scouting, right? Everything that goes into it, right? We'll just call those all the pre-production tasks. I'm gonna put those tasks right there, right? And I'm gonna let them know that it's based on the hourly. You can make this hourly whatever you want. If you're just starting out, if you don't mind working for 35, 50 an hour, whatever is comfortable for you, do that. You might be trying to undercut. I do it 75 an hour, so, right? So 75 an hour, and I estimate, right? When you've been doing it long enough, that's another thing, just that confidence. When you've been doing it long enough, you know exactly how long that's gonna take. For me to do some shot planning, it usually takes about an hour. For me to do casting, it might take like 2 hours, depending on who's involved, right? So I'll even tell them, okay, maybe there's like 5 hours estimated, right? Boom, so that's about, what's that, 750? All right, so I actually lied. 75 times 5 is definitely 375, not 750. Include everything, equipment prep. I know y'all know how long it'd be taking when you, let me make sure the gimbal's charged. Let me put everything, all the batteries on the chargers. Let me pack up the stuff. I'm charging for that because I wouldn't be doing it if they didn't call my phone. So I'm charging for that. Like I said, location reviews, meetings, they call on your phone. Oh, so can we do this? When you gonna be there? I know I'm gonna be on the phone with them for about an hour, I'm charging for it. And the beauty of it is, you probably didn't charge like this before, so if you wanna give discounts, you can. If you know, okay, they really don't have the money, okay, maybe I'm not gonna charge them for the meetings and everything, I'll cut that off, right? To help fit their budget, especially if we're gonna get to number 3. And let me just talk about number 3 right now. I always do a standard, premium, and deluxe, right? So a lot of people, like I said, they're not gonna tell you the truth about how much money they got. So nobody wants to spend up here if they can get amazing down here, right? So they might say, I always ask, what's your budget range, right? Because that's what a lot of these companies do. They have a budget range. So they're like, okay, no more than 5,000, or we were thinking somewhere between 7 to 10. So if they say 7 to 10, I'm gonna probably send them a 7, an 8.5, and then an 11, right? If it needs to push to that, right? So I'm gonna send them one lower than they were even expecting, one that's probably gonna be like right in the middle, and then the one that's like the deluxe package. 9 times out of 10, they go with that deluxe because we're humans, we got that shiny thing syndrome, so they're gonna go for that deluxe, right? So I list it all out. So let's So everything I'm writing here, I write that pre-production, boom, section it off. Now we got, all right, production. Also, if you want to see this, I know I'm saying a lot right now. If you want to just see this, a full template, just click the link under this video and I'll be giving away a free template. You can see it all just itemized, some of my biggest projects. You can see exactly what I'm putting into it and how you can win projects just like that. So, okay, so same thing. I'm listing out my crew, right? Who all is involved. And that probably changes from, okay, my standard packets, maybe they can only afford a videographer and assistant. Then I, bump up to my premium and now they can get a videographer, an assistant, a first AC and a gaffer, right? And then at deluxe, now they got sound, lighting, everything like that. So they can see, and I'm pricing all of that out. So I'm showing them this is exactly how much I'm charging you. This is how much I'm taking. There's nothing hidden and they respect that, right? So for lighting, right? Let's say I got the gaffer, I'm listing it out. Boom, gaffer, $250, right? And one thing to remember, you may have discounts, right? You might know a gaffer that works for $150 for a whole day. What if he's sick, right? And the only other people are the people that charge full price. So charge them $500 for that gaffer. And this is how you make more money on your productions. Charge them $500 on that gaffer, right? You go get the one for $150 and you just made more money, right? So that's ways you can, get more money out of your proposals. So like I said, I'm listing out crew, I'm listing out all the gear that I'm gonna bring. Now, you don't have to go too much into gear, especially if they don't know too much. Just like let them know, hey, I'm bringing gear to get you smooth shots. Hey, I'm bringing gear to get you steady tripod shots. I'm gonna have soft lighting for you, great audio, just so they know, okay, he knows what he's doing. He's covering all his bases, right? He or she. Also, list out the cameras that you'll be using. Sometimes I send samples of like the camera footage and just say, hey, I'm bringing this camera, it shoots 4K resolution, so you'll get that 4K. I'm putting the time, that is very important to put the time. All right, some of you might charge day rates, I charge hourly. And I've done it so much that I know how long each thing is gonna take. So I'm like, okay, this is a 4-hour day, this is an 8-hour, this is a 10, so I'm pricing that out hourly. And then also, now these flat rates you might have, it really just depends on how you want to do it. You can do a day rate. I usually do a day rate for my gaffer and everything like that. But, that director's rate, that cam op rate is kind of a lot of hourly things, which I come across. So I'm listing out camera, crew, insurance, right? So when you start charging for insurance and letting them know, right, oh, we're going to make sure your project is covered with insurance, personal injury, property damage, everything like that. They're like, okay, this is a professional company that we're working with. They're making sure that they got insurance, that they got us covered. And most bigger projects that you're working with, they're gonna require that insurance. But I actually charge for insurance. So my insurance right now costs me somewhere between $400 to $600 a month. Why pay for that myself when my clients can pay for it? Because it's for them, right? So I'll plug that in there. So I might charge, oh, here's $75 just to make sure you have insurance, or here's $100. This is what helps us as a company make sure our clients are always covered, and they're perfectly fine with that because they're like, yeah, if something happens, I want to be covered, right? So boom, we got that. Next, after insurance, you want to include craft services, lunch, different things like that. Just all those items, they want to see that you have that listed. Also, for my equipment, I'm charging for it. Even if I own it, I charge for it, and I let them know, I'm sending, you're paying for this equipment. So as a client, we can make sure we always have the best and the newest equipment for you, and nobody ever fights that, right? So charging for that equipment. And like I said, these are all different things. If you own equipment and it's like, okay, I want to send out professional proposals, but I know they don't have this much. I'm not gonna charge for the equipment, it's not costing me. You can work it, you know what I mean? So boom, you got that. Locations, everything that goes into that production. Like I said, the crew, lunch, craft services, all of that, just itemize everything. You don't have to hide anything because you'll make your money in those hidden fees that they don't even know about. And a lot of times, even when my productions get big enough, I'm charging a production company fee, right? So what that production company fee is, I'm charging just for the time that it takes to hire all these people, the overhead. I gotta pay all these people, contact them, schedule them, house all the equipment. So there's a lot that goes into big productions. So there's a percentage, like a 10% fee. Also contingency fees, right? So some projects, we don't know, the client doesn't know. It's like, oh, it might be this and that. It might be, we might need this. Some stuff is open-ended. So I'll usually charge anywhere from a 5 to 15% contingency fee to cover any unforeseen, things that might pop up that they want to add. That contingency fee, I'm adding that in there. All right, you're not seeing that from normal videographers. So you send a proposal out showing all that, they know that they're messing with somebody professional. All right, so boom, moving on down to post-production, right? So we'll just call that post. Same thing here, right? I'm letting them know this is how much work that I'm putting in. I'm itemizing everything, right? Have you ever seen where you hire somebody to assemble your footage? Boom, footage assembly, $150. Coloring, $1,000, depending on what you're doing. Coloring is expensive. Cutting, all this stuff, stock audio sweetening, all that. I'm listening out like, hey, this this ain't no simple thing. And you let them see that, and and the more they see that they realize that, wow, there's a lot that goes into this. Now, if I'm sending, sometimes, I know exactly what it is, I might not always do all the packages. You don't want to bore them with reading and do all that itemization by each bullet point. If there's several packages, it'll get to be a lot, right? So you gotta kind of read the room with that. But if I'm just sending 2 packages or something, or it's a big projects, you just gotta put it all out there. Ain't no way around it. So in post, like I said, listing out all those functions. One, because this is how you can start to scale and grow. You can take yourself out of the business, and now you can hire a colorist, you can hire a cutter, you can hire somebody to assemble that footage if the budget is there, right? I'm letting them know how many revisions they get, what that process is like, and of course, attaching an agreement at the end of that. So this is exactly how you win bigger projects right here. Show them what's all this, how you get more money out of your projects. So it's really foolproof, to be honest. The only way you're gonna lose this is if your work isn't good enough. But if this is good enough, you're gonna win the project 9 times out of 10. Like I said, the biggest thing, because you got a low, a high, a medium, and a high, then you just gotta make sure your work is good enough. So as long as your work is good enough, you list out everything, you have that agreement, you're good. And one more tip that I like to do. So if you've ever heard of Loom.com, so I will screen record this proposal, because all of this, especially if you're working with somebody new, they don't know all this terminology, I go in and make it way simple. It's like, okay, look, I know there's a lot on here. That's why I'm recording this video, to briefly explain it to you so you can understand. I made this video just for you. It takes like, 3 to 5 minutes to record these videos. That 3 to 5 minutes is gonna put you, I'm guaranteeing no other companies are doing this, right? So that's just gonna put you at higher end. Now, some of the smaller projects, it's simple. They don't, it's not gonna tell you don't have to send a video. But big projects, send that video. It's gonna put you, it's gonna separate you. They're gonna remember you. Send that video, and it's gonna get you right. So last bonus tip, make sure you follow my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. I'll link it right in here. That's gonna help you win, right? I have a hashtag called Video Business Tips. Make sure you follow it. I'm giving away a bunch of tips like this. So subscribe, turn them notifications on, and we're gonna get you right.